you saying to him in that moment?
I was just proud of him. I mean, it was, I thought he really, sparked us. I mean, he ran through some trash. He broke some tackles. You could just see, again, his will to win, and just saw his heart. That's what I thought. And it really just it ignited his teammates. It was great to see that.
After the Troy game, you mentioned being defense needs to be better on 3rd and long. I guess was it something Troy was doing that they were executing, or was I guess
no, it's us. It's us. They just took advantage of it. We got the biggest run, the 28-yard run was Sammy's right there, and for some reason he runs backside. We got the run's going to stay between Ronan and Sammy, and just at the last second, I mean, he's right there in the gap. He plays over the top. So just try to do too much. Just do your job, and it's a 1-yard gain. Instead, it goes 28. And then we had a pass play, a long yardage, and Ronan didn't get. He just had the wrong call, and lined up wrong. He's supposed to be in a show position. He's supposed to run to the middle of the field. Well, he's over here lined up wrong, and then he just stayed there. Even if he lines up wrong and gets where he's supposed to be, it would have been okay. But he didn't, and so they threw the ball right where the void was, where he was supposed to be. So they took advantage of the mistakes, and then, the big wheel route, that's Kobe. His eyes are on 2, but we don't have man coverage. That's a fire zone, so he's got a zone, and he played it like he had man coverage on the running back. The running back just stayed in the backfield, so he's coming up, and they slip in. He should have been dropping right in that zone, right to him. And so just some details, just some execution. Nothing that can't be corrected, base stuff. So guys are playing hard. The ball's coming out quick. We've played 2 teams that they don't hold. Neither team's held the ball. I mean, that's. I mean, I talked to their head coach after the game just to chat with him a little bit, and I mean, there was no way they were going to hold the ball. They weren't going to play in a drop back passing game. So the ball was going to come out quick. It was going to be play screens and play actions, and we got to be a little better on the perimeter. We've done okay, but we got to tighten some things down and get off a few blocks, be a little more physical out there. But we've done some good things. I mean, the 1st and 23, we got them at 1st and 23, and they run a boot, and we've got a field pressure coming. Like, that should be a sack. You can't have a better call. That's like running a reverse, and you got a corner cat coming. Like, you almost think they knew your play coming, right? Like, anytime you run a reverse and here comes a corner cat, you're like, all right, wait a minute, So, I mean, we got field pressure coming right into a boot, and our pressure guy goes inside, and I mean, he's the outside. I mean, he's the edge guy. I mean, he ought to blow that up. Instead, the quarterback's right outside, and then AV, it's 1st and 23, so he's playing tight about 2 yards on the receiver there, as opposed to just playing a float technique. And so, because we're in a 2 deep there, and he's got the flat, but he's about 2 yards. And so instead of playing a float technique and making them take the underneath little dump throw, they throw in behind him, and it's 1st and 23, and it goes to, whatever. They got to end up getting the first down. So they're just details, just some situational awareness, some details, just alignments, eyes on the right things, There's a difference between man and zone, where you're supposed to be. So nothing that they can't correct. The 3rd and 9 run was our 3rd and 7 run. We didn't get the call communicated to our 2D tackles, so we weren't where we needed to be there. So just mistakes by us and that they took advantage of. But they're playing tough, playing hard. We've turned people over, and we keep them out of the end zone. And that's the name of the game, points. And if we can be a stingy defense, and again, the first touchdown was on the coaches. So really, our defense has given up 2 touchdowns. The one that they got on our defense, that was on us as coaches. Should not have happened, but give them credit. It was a little game plan deal that caught us, and we didn't help them.
Is Tristan Lee, is he practicing this week?
Yeah, we're going to do an injury report on Thursday. So I think it starts this week, right? So we'll put that out on Thursday. But I'm sure you'll know by tonight. So you can tweet it out.
What's that process been like with the mind that everybody else is going to be doing one, too, in those.
I mean, I really don't care, honestly. I mean, it's just, the new thing this year. We did it before. I don't know what year that was. Maybe it was before COVID.
I think it ended like 17.
Yeah, we did it at one point. We had to do all that stuff, and then Tim, you probably remember that. But then it went away, and I guess it's coming back. So we'll put something out on Thursday, and then I think we put something out again Saturday.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So I guess that's kind of what the NFL does, isn't it? So it's just, I guess it's for gambling. I think that's what the purpose of it is. So we'll post it on Thursday. But like I said, y'all check Larry. He'll have it. He'll have all the info way before then. Way before.
On that injury, how much has the flow of the offense been missing Antonio in there?
I mean, he's our best player. I mean, it's just that simple. He's the best player we got. He's special. I mean, he's just seasoned. He's crafty, smart. I mean, he's a special dude. So certainly doesn't help us that he's not out there. But like I said, if we can just find a way to battle through, and it's these first couple games, that the positive has been Tyler has been able to really make some plays and really get back in the rhythm of playing, having been out last year.
Is this the most surprised you've been that over the years that camp performance offensively hasn't translated?
No, dealt with it before. I mean, I feel like I'm living 2016 all over again, honestly. In fact, I went back and looked at my notes from 2016 after the Troy game, just curious. And it was like I could have just erased the name. I could have just walked into the team meeting with the same comments, because we just weren't different reasons, but same comments. The only difference is we made one more play than Auburn in the opener. Came down to a Hail Mary. We played terrible. I think we dropped 3 touchdowns in that game. I think we had 11 drops in our first 2 games, those 2 years. I think we had 11 drops. Again, 3 touchdowns in the Auburn game. That was the game, and then Wayne Gallman, he ran out of bounds, and I mean, it's just like we just were. I don't know. Deshaun was not playing well. What's wrong with Deshaun? Everybody's beating Deshaun up. He's terrible. He thinks he's the Heisman. He's this and that. He was 16. It was his last year. All the hype, and honestly, similar to this team, that was the first time that they got all the rat poison. And that's kind of this group. This group hadn't really. This group ain't had the rat poison. They've just had the you suck poison. And this is the first time this group's really had to manage that. And I don't think some of them have managed it well. Obviously, just being real. And I would say the same thing about that group. Because nobody voted us high in 15, and we just kept winning. That might have been the best team I've had, honestly, was 15. I mean, that was a really good group. And they just but nobody really expected much out of them. We hadn't won the league since 11, and all of a sudden here comes 15, and that team wins the league. You go on to the national championship. We know all how that played. But now coming into the 16 season, there's a lot of rat poison, as Coach Saban likes to talk about. And these are young people. Your quarterback's he's the first pick. He's the Heisman. You got all these guys back. You got Mike Williams back. You got Artavis. You got Ray. You got Dion. You got Renfro. You got all these guys, and all these experienced guys up front. You got these guys on defense, and you're just going to press play right to Tampa, right? And that's kind of how I felt with that team. That was. I actually said that to the team. I mean, you guys feel like y'all can just, because their whole mindset was we're going to Tampa. And I'm like, you don't just hit fast forward. Like, it doesn't work that way. Like, this ain't a video game where you just, like on TV, on the screen, when you hit 10 seconds forward or you hit the arrow and it goes to the next thing. That ain't how this works. It's one step at a time, one play at a time. You got to play every game. You're getting everybody's best shot. You're the league champion. And so I don't think they handled that well out of the gate. and we go down to Auburn. I thought we stunk. Even though and it's the same thing. If Cade throws the touchdown to Tyler Brown and we win in overtime, I'm still pissed on Monday. Ain't nothing changed. Nothing changes. It's how you play. I've won a lot of games where we played like crap. I've lost some games where we played really good. And sometimes the team's just better. So, I mean, to me, it's how you play. It's about how you play, who you play, where you play, what time you play, any of that stuff. It's how you play the game, right? Coach Stallings used to always say, when the great scorer comes to mark against your name, he cares not whether you won or lost, but how you played the game. And so, and then the next week, ironically, we were playing Troy. And it was the same thing. I think it came down to an onside kick. Couldn't stop them in the fourth quarter. Win 30-24. That was a national championship. What's wrong? They all suck. Everything's bad. And that team, I kept telling them, hey, you keep touching that stove, it's going to burn you. And sure enough, we get to Pittsburgh and 600 yards of the shovel pass right up our it burned us. And same thing. We had, 500 and something yards of offense. Might have had 600 yards of offense. But how many turnovers did we have? I think we had 5 turnovers in that game. Deshaun was turning it up. We just weren't playing well. We had 11 drops in the first 2. We just weren't playing well. So that's a long answer to your question. But yes, I've been doing this a long time. It doesn't always go perfect. And I've had some teams that get off to a great start that struggled a little bit in camp. And I've had some teams great in camp and struggle a little bit. Again, who you play matters. We could, like I said, some of these teams out there don't break a sweat till October. But we've always played people. And, it doesn't always go great. But we're battle tested, but we got to get better. It just ain't no other. We continue like this, we ain't going to win many games. We got to get in rhythm on offense. And we got the dudes. And we got to do a better job as coaches and get in rhythm. But we're doing a lot of good things too. There's a lot of things that don't necessarily show up on the stat sheet that excite me as a coach, especially what I saw in the moment of last week. That was awesome. That's special. You hate situations like that, but it's special when you see a group of guys fight and stay together when everything's against you. So that was awesome. You saw it in the NFL. The Bills are down 15 with 4 minutes. I think half the stadium left, right? I've been to a Bills game. I'm sure that was salty, But get what they do. They just kept playing. You just keep playing. Have a bad week, keep playing. Keep playing. We're 4-4 around here. We won 5 in a row. You just got to play every week. And as coaches, we're teachers, and these are so many great lessons that you learn through this game of football that equip you for the rest of your life. And it ain't always easy. They don't always go the way you want. For me, and none of y'all either. It's just, I got a group of people writing about it the whole way through. It just comes with it. It's part of it.
If the diagnosis for the 16 team is wanting to hit the fast forward button to play Alabama again, do you know enough yet to diagnose the reasons behind the current?
Yeah, that's what I said. I think it's the first time that this bunch, and I don't know if that's the reason. I just think it's the first time. They just, the part that's supposed to suck is my punter and my special teams, and they're playing great, but they've been told how bad they are the whole time, how bad they are. But offensively, it's been like, man, nobody's going to ever stop. They're never going to punt. Nobody's going to ever stop them. Well, you forget you got to go play the game, and you got to execute. Everybody's got good coaches and good players, and our execution is just not what it needs to be. The precision and the details, it's just not. And that's exactly what I said. I knew I had good players. I got great players. I got guys that are going to play on Sunday, but everybody's got a job to do. And my job is: are we in position to be successful? Now, if we're not in position to be successful, the plays aren't, then that's a different story. That's a different story. But, everybody's got accountability in what they got to do. And we better be on point this Saturday. This will be a battle.
You mentioned the special teams. Really, the only miss has been the 48-yard field goal that was missed. Other than that, you've had a punt return that was significant, a kickoff return probably that didn't get enough play last week. No kickoff returns by opponents. One punt return, I think, so far by
And
opponents.
we pinned them deep. We put them inside the 10. We executed a deep onside. Jackson, he's done a really nice job. That kid had a lot of pressure on him. Y'all couldn't wait for him to shank one. Y'all couldn't wait for him to shank one. I know y'all had all the headlines ready. Swinney's stupid. He should have gone to the portal and got a punter. He's, whatever. Y'all had them ready. Y'all had them. Y'all keep them. They might come a day where y'all can use them, but not today. Today's not the day. Could come a day. So hang on to them. I know you got them written.
Because we heard a lot about his inconsistency at times, Jax. I guess, was there a point in camp or spring or the fall where you saw that kind of turnaround?
I don't think it was inconsistent. I think all three guys can do the job. I just think, sometimes we just think because we don't name a guy that they're all terrible, and that's just not the case. We have three good punters. Like, I really believe in McCune, and I feel terrible. I've been calling him McCune it's McCune, like a Q, and he finally got the courage to tell me like 2 weeks ago. I feel terrible about that. Apologize to his family, but, it looks like McCune, but it's McCune. Pecan, whatever. It's, there's a lot of ways to do this stuff. But anyway, that kid can punt the ball. So can Robert Gunn. All three, I really have confidence in all three of them, but it wasn't that they were inconsistent. They were all just pretty good, and nobody just took it. There was times where they were all like, whoa, and then they were just not bad, but just nobody really just separated. And so, bless you. And so I just, Jack's the guy we recruited, and I thought he was just a nudge. He's been here. He's kind of ready. And but now you got, like I said, now you got to go to the game. That was kind of the next stage. Was all right. Well, let's get to the game, and then we'll decide if we keep running him out there. We give another guy a chance. That could be an in-game decision. But he's really performed well. You're talking about against LSU's first punch backed up in the end zone. It doesn't get any tougher than that. And he's placed the ball well directionally. He's sky punted it. He's been really good. But I have confidence in those other two guys. I think we have a really good punting situation. So I know there's been a lot of angst about it. But somebody comes to practice one day, or the media comes to practice for 2 periods, and it's like, oh my God, they all shanked it. Well, maybe they just had a bad day, a bad period. It'd be terrible to be judged on, 1 hour of our day. We could have a bad hour, and the other 23 were pretty good. So I think just misinformation or whatever from time to time gets out there and creates their own narratives. And y'all don't always believe me, even though I tell y'all the truth. So, except Cornblood, I never tell him the truth.
Years ago, there was just consistency with him, just had to improve. So
He had to from definitely early on in his career, and Aiden was the most consistent, and Aiden did a nice job for us. So he just couldn't quite beat him out, and Aiden got the game experience, and we were comfortable with him, and did a nice job.
The fans had like a tailgate part 2 during the rain delay. They were having a party up there waiting for you guys. What does that support mean for you, for them to
Were they
stick
selling
around?
alcohol in the parking lot?
Yeah, it might have helped with the sticking around a little bit.
Oh, it's great. I really appreciate those that hung in there. That's just, it's a tough. It was a great crowd at the beginning, and then it was, fairly sparse. But those that were there were awesome. They were loud, and they were, right on point when we needed them to be. I really appreciate that because, again, I know it's just and they want to be safe. I mean, there's storms, there's all kind of stuff. So I thought they did a great job. Again, those that hung around, we really felt that presence. And it made a difference for us down the stretch.
What's your relationship like with Brent Key, interim coach, trying to kind of do what you did?
Yeah, Brent's been great. We've spent a lot of time together, talked together a bunch, and he's a Birmingham boy. Played at Hewitt Trustful. I played at Pelham, so we're both from kind of same neck of the woods. I just think he's done a great job. He really loves that place. He played there. It's important to him, and he's put his personality into it. They're a physical football team. He's a offensive line guy, and he believes in running the football, and they live that out. So I think he's done a really, really good job, and he's recruiting well, but he's put a good staff together. I think their staff is excellent. Staff's done an awesome job. You got really good coordinators, and so got a lot of respect for Brent. Always fun to be around him. He's got a good personality. He's got good perspective.
What's the challenge? They've got a first-time DC that's not really been a play caller. He got really one game's worth of real tape.
Yeah.
What's the challenge of facing that?
It's a challenge. At least you have Colorado. That game came down to the wire. So, they wasn't worried about Clemson, playing Colorado. They're doing everything you can. Like I said, every game's a season of its own. You gotta just be in the moment you're in, do everything you can to win. So, at least some years you got teams you play and they ain't played anybody in 3 weeks, so you don't really know. But you got a little bit of a feel, and you got a couple games at least seeing their personnel, and obviously we got some tape from last year as far as some of the personnel stuff. But you got to look at Texas. He came from Texas. Obviously we played them, so you study that, study his background a little bit on where he's been, and try to do. These first couple games are all games that you have to do a lot of off-season work in to try to have the best possible plan that you can. Especially, you do it regardless, but especially when you have coordinator changes or you're playing somebody that's got just a total roster makeover. So now you got to spend a lot of time just trying to get a feel for who the player is, even though you're looking at him in a scheme that maybe isn't the same.
2 games, and how do you feel about the rotation at tight end, what they've been able to get out of the offense?
Yeah, been good. I think they've been a steady group. Like I said, we got 3 guys that we really like. Sap had a little better week. A little better week last week. Ran out there first, but those guys they're all guys we have a ton of confidence in. Benincore is just going to keep getting better. He missed 2 big blocks, back-to-back plays late in the game that he'll learn from. But he's made some plays. Sap's made a couple plays. Olsson's made a couple big plays. I think the tight ends have been a real bright spot for us. Just steady with what we've asked them to do to this point, but more to come.
The 2 nickel spots, there's a bigger and smaller one. What have you liked from the rotations at both of those positions?
We've just had the 2 games, so the style of the teams we're playing kind of dictate that a little bit. The team we just played, personnel-wise, very different, and so you saw a lot of linebackers. And you saw Jamal, kind of our Sam guy. He played a lot of that position. I think Tink might have played about 15 plays. There was probably only about 20 snaps. And then you got AV that's playing some stuff too when we get into some of our package stuff, on some long yardage stuff. So, not having Khalil hurts us for sure. Because he gives us the most flexibility. But the glass half full side of that is Ronan has been able to really, I think, advance in these first couple weeks and play through some mistakes, but just be able to go play. So I think that long term it will help us. So be excited to get Khalil back.
How important was it for Sadler to play as many snaps as he had to play at left tackle for you last week?
Well, I wish he didn't have to, but again, you know, some of these things early in the season can pay big benefits for you as you move, because they don't forget that. And you know, he's a guy you go into it and you say, okay, we really like, you know, we got 5 tackles. I mean, that's how we with Tristan and Blake and Sadler and Elijah and Braden. That's kind of how we looked at, like, okay, we got 5 tackles that we're going to be able to go through the season with. And but in the heat of the moment, and you know, all of a sudden now you got Colin having to bump out, playing left guard, left tackle. I mean, first of all, it's good for him long term, just his versatility and his ability to, you know, put it on tape. I think that's a great thing for him, but certainly a great thing for us to have, you know, flexibility with guys that we can move, get our best 5 on the field, you know, however that shakes out. And when you got 5 guys that we think can play tackle, that's a really good thing. And Colin obviously can play guard. Elijah can play guard. Elijah can play center. You know, so it's that's a blessing. But so he's gotten some good experience now. I think that helps him. You know, a lot like Elijah last year as a freshman, having to go play some tackle and do a good job. That you don't forget that. That leads to confidence.
Anyone else for Coach?
There was an ESPN article this summer saying how one of the transfer portal players you wanted to keep was AJ Hoffler with Georgia Tech. Now, I guess what kind of made him a special player that you, I guess, wanted to possibly retain here at Clemson?
Yeah, you know, I think AJ's a great talent. I mean, I think he's a great player, and I think he was kind of on his way, but you know, that's a decision he made. And he's a great kid, a great mom and dad. Really just love the whole family, and wish we could have, you know, finished the race with him here. But again, that's just a decision that he made, and respect that. And I think he's got a bright future.
More like a radio show that you want to see 5 seasons of eligibility.
Yeah.
5 years. How hopeful are you that could actually happen?
Well, I'm very hopeful, but you know, I don't really have any intel, if you will. But I think it would be great for a lot of reasons. I mean, I think it would clean up a lot of the medical waiver, you know, all that stuff. But I also think it would clean up an unintended consequence. You know, when they put the 4 games in for the red shirt deal, you could play 4 and still red shirt. That was a positive. Everybody loved that. But now with the world we're in, now it's like, you know, especially with rosters being lessened, and it's like, oh, all of a sudden now you got, and it's not their fault. It's just the system, the way it is, you know. So now all of a sudden you got a bunch of kids that are going to self-redshirt themselves after 4 games if they're not playing or where they are, or they don't. And, you know, you got agents involved. There's a lot of stuff. And all of a sudden, no, you get 10, 11, 12 guys self-redshirt themselves to save a year. Well, that's, first of all, it's not good for the game. It's not what it was, the system was, it's not what it was intended to be. And I don't think it's good for the player. Whereas if you just, the 5 for 5 would just clean all that up. Because then guys could play. Even if they knew they were leaving, they'd still play, you know, in whatever role they would, and finish. And I just think, you know, it just creates bad blood. And I you know, I just don't think that stuff's necessary. I think the 5 for 5 would clean it all up. It's just my opinion.
Anybody else for Coach? All right, thank you, Coach.
Okay, appreciate it.
Thank you.